Hi, my name is Taylor. I'm a psychotherapist at My Therapy NYC. I'm here to talk to you about how to manage grief in the workplace. It can be tough to make room for the painful emotions that we might feel with all of the demands of work, whether that's meetings or deadlines or emails to write. And it can often even feel like these emotions are getting in the way of your productivity. Fortunately, there are some things that you can do to help make some room for the feelings that accompany a loss. Some of these things can be done by yourself, and some require support from others. One thing that I strongly recommend doing is to schedule your grief. This sounds like kind of a strange idea, so let me explain. Oftentimes, when we are sitting in a meeting or trying to draft an email, these emotions will come up unexpectedly. We may be feeling overwhelming sadness or overwhelming anger or even gratitude or joy. And these feelings can sometimes make it difficult for us to focus on our work, and that's okay. One thing that can help is to set aside time to feel whatever it is that we need to feel, whether that's 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and you can do that whenever you feel comfortable. That could be before work or during lunch or before a meeting, to just step aside and to say, okay, I'm going to take 5 minutes, and whatever I'm feeling right now is okay. I'm going to go into the bathroom or sit in my car, and I'm going to take that time and just feel whatever I need to feel. I can cry, I can make angry faces in the mirror. I can laugh, I can reminisce fondly about my loved one. Another thing that you can do is to set some sort of reminder on your desk. That can be a picture or other memento that reminds you of your loved one, that helps you to feel more connected. For example, I have this fancy little desk calendar with pictures of my cat on it, and that can be really helpful for me when I'm having a tough day, to look over at these pictures of my cat and say, wow, I really love this feline, and I'm doing a lot because of this love that I have for her, and there's so much strength that I get from that love. Another thing that you can do is to just focus on breathing, especially when you're overwhelmed. Remember how I mentioned that sometimes these emotions that come up can be somewhat unexpected? Well, if you're in a meeting, for example, these emotions might come up, and it's not the most appropriate time to burst into tears. And so you can say, okay, in a half hour, I'm going to have my scheduled grief time, but right now, I just need to take a deep breath and let those feelings pass. It's okay to take 30 seconds in a meeting to tune out whatever's going on. Hopefully you're not in the spotlight, but if you are, then just subtly just take a deep breath. It's okay to pause in the middle of a presentation. In addition to these things that you can do for yourself, it can also be helpful to seek support from others. One thing that I strongly encourage people to do is to reach out to your boss and coworkers to say, hey, I'm really dealing with this tough loss. If you see things that might be a little bit strange, that's probably what's going on. You don't need to go into graphic details. You don't need to talk about even necessarily who you lost or how or what you're feeling about it. You don't need to go into all those details if you don't feel comfortable. But just saying, hey, I suffered a significant loss recently, and it's going to take me some time to be back up to full speed, to be, back up to your full capacity. That can be really helpful to just give them a heads up, right? And in addition to giving them a heads up, it also can give you permission to feel whatever it is that you're feeling. And your coworkers or your boss can support you, and they can say, okay, well, maybe we can change some deadlines or get you additional support for a project. Or if you're running behind on something, like, that's okay. And people will often be understanding. I won't speak for all employers in this case, but oftentimes you will find that employers will be understanding and they will help you through managing the conflicts that can arise between your emotions and your work responsibilities. In addition to getting support in the workplace, there's also things like social media that can help you find support. Social media often gets a bad rap for being distracting. However, when it comes to grief support, social media is excellent. It can connect you to online grief support groups or even other loved ones who care about you or care about the person that you lost. And you can reach out to them and get support through, just through these other people outside of the workplace. On top of that, there are also formal grief support groups that you can join. These groups are often time limited. They will run from anywhere from 6 weeks to a year, sometimes longer. There are definitely long-term groups. But you can find a group that fits your needs and fits the particular loss that you may be experiencing. There are groups for widows, or for people who have lost pets, or people who have gone through a traumatic breakup. And these groups can help you to normalize the feelings that you're experiencing and to receive additional support when these emotions become overwhelming. On top of all of this, it can be really helpful to reach out to a therapist. If you find that these emotions are not just making it difficult to work, but that you are unable to work, it can be really helpful to reach out to a trained professional. Many of the therapists at My Therapy NYC are trained to help you work through any sort of grief response that you may be having. Above all, I want you to know that everything will be okay. It may not always be easy, but everything will be okay. A good friend of mine once told me that her mantra is, "I will survive this." And that is something that I tell a lot of my own clients who are dealing with grief. No matter what loss you might have suffered, it's tough, and it will be painful, and also you will survive it. And being able to just remember that no matter the loss, it will be okay, can bring a lot of relief. If you want to hear more about managing grief, you can register for my upcoming webinar, Good Morning, How to Manage and Move Through Grief. You can find more information about the webinar and also comment on this video by visiting our website at mytherapynyc.com.